Welcome, ship fans. Nice to meet you again, here on the Elbe dike in Germany. Underway from Hamburg to Aveiro was the freighter FRI River. Built in 2000, she is 91 meters long and 14 meters wide. The container ship OOCL Denmark came from Rotterdam Maasvlakte with destination Hamburg. Built in 2024, she is 399 meters long and 61 meters wide. This is the MSC Maria Grazia, which I find a beautiful name for a ship. Built in 2024, she has a length of 366 meters and a beam of 51 meters. She came from Aarhus in Denmark. The Marseille Maersk was underway from Bremerhaven to Hamburg. She was built in 2018, has a length of 399 meters and a beam of 59 meters. The freighter Hafnes was underway from Hamburg to Grundartangi in Iceland. Built in 1991, she measures 75 to 12 meters. Sailing from Hamburg to Rotterdam was the container ship Tampa Triumph. She was built in 2017, has a length of 366 meters and a beam of 51 meters. The next morning was very windy. As first ship, the Amadeus Diamond came by, a general cargo vessel that came from Immingham in Great Britain with destination Hamburg. She was built in 2001, is 89 meters long and 12 meters wide. The feeder Alexander B drove from Bremerhaven to Hamburg. 19 years old, she is 155 meters long and 25 meters wide. For the pink lovers, this is the One Recognition, a 2024 built container ship with a length of 273 meters and a beam of 43 meters. She came from Rotterdam Maasvlakte. Coming from Immingham in Great Britain was Elbe. Built in 2009, she is 140 meters long and 22 meters wide. On tour to Tallinn in Estonia was Neunfelde. The ship is 24 years old, 134 meters long and 23 meters wide. The tanker Dry-Star Natasha is 9 years old, 156 meters long and 26 meters wide. Her destination was Antwerp. From Vlissingen in the Netherlands came Bergen Nimber, a bulk carrier that was built in 2010 with a length of 292 meters and a beam of 45 meters. This is the Red Route. Built in 2008, she is 134 meters long and 23 meters wide. She was underway to Helsingborg in Sweden. The Hapag-Lloyd container ship Al-Zubara is 10 years old, 400 meters long and 59 meters wide. She came from Rotterdam Maasvlakte. Also from Rotterdam Maasvlakte came the HMM Algeciras. She was built in 2020, has a length of 400 meters and a beam of 61 meters. On tour from Kamsar in Guinea to Stade near Hamburg was the bulk carrier Hinweis. Built in 2012, she has a length of 225 meters and a beam of 32 meters. The Maersk Genoa was built in 2016, is 337 meters long and 48 meters wide. She came from Thames in Great Britain. The 20-year-old Beate is 134 meters long and 23 meters wide. She came from Aarhus in Denmark and drove to Hamburg. The GSL Tigea was built in 2001, has a length of 277 meters and a beam of 40 meters. She came from Rotterdam Maasvlakte. The general cargo vessel Baltic Anchor came from Antwerp and drove to Hamburg. Built in 2024, she is 88 meters long and 13 meters wide. From Mo i Rana in Norway came the bulk carrier Seagem. Built in 2019, she is 229 meters long and 32 meters wide. On tour from Rotterdam Maasvlakte to Hamburg was the Ever Top. That vessel was built in 2022, is 400 meters long and 62 meters wide. The Cape Corfu came from Felixstowe in Great Britain. She was built in 2021, is 186 meters long and 35 meters wide. Later in the evening, the OOCL Luxembourg came from Rotterdam Maasvlakte. She was built in 2010, has a length of 323 meters and a beam of 43 meters. The cruise ship Aida Perla came from Hamburg and was underway to Bergen in Norway. Built in 2017, she is 300 meters long and 38 meters wide. The LPG tanker Vento was underway from Corunna in Spain to Stade near Hamburg. Built in 2010, she measures 88 to 15 meters. The tanker Dagzit Endeavour was built in 2013, is 155 meters long and 22 meters wide. She came from Terneuzen in the Netherlands. The freighter Friedrich was underway from Hamburg to Misurata in Libya. Built in 2012, she is 110 meters long and 17 meters wide. The Kiel Express was built in 2003, is 321 meters long and 43 meters wide. She came from Southampton in Great Britain. The Atlanta Express came from Rotterdam Maasvlakte. The ship is 11 years old, 368 meters long and 51 meters wide. The MSC Teresa measures 366 to 51 meters. She was built in 2011 and came from Aarhus in Denmark. The self-discharging bulk carrier CSL Thames came from Slovak in Norway and was underway to Butzflev near Hamburg. She was built in 2010, has a length of 175 meters and a beam of 26 meters. Coming from Thames in Great Britain was the Istanbul Express. She was built in 2016, is 300 meters long and 48 meters wide. On the next day, the bulk carrier CSL Thames came back from Butzflev, this time with destination chaser in Norway. The bulk carrier Meltemi came from Las Palmas in Spain and was underway to Hamburg. She was built in 2022, is 229 meters long and 32 meters wide. These birds are very rare on the dike. It's an A400 from Airbus. The container ship CMA-CGM Champs-Élysées was built in 2020, has a length of 400 meters and a beam of 61 meters. She came from Rotterdam Maasvlakte. Also from Rotterdam Maasvlakte came the one Hammersmith. She was built in 2009, has a length of 336 meters and a beam of 46 meters. The tanker stock Baltic was underway from Hamburg to Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Built in 2009, she's 119 meters long and 17 meters wide. On tour to Bilbao in Spain was the tanker Rosa. 21 years old, she's 112 meters long and 19 meters wide. The container ship Zim Vietnam came from Felixstowe in Great Britain and was built in 2003. Her destination was Hamburg. She has a length of 304 meters and a beam of 40 meters. The tanker Concerto measures 180 to 28 meters. She's 8 years old and was underway from Antwerp to Stade. Around 10:30 in the night, the cruise ship Costa Favolosa came down the Elbe from Hamburg. She was underway to Bergen in Norway. This ship was built in 2011, is 290 meters long and 36 meters wide. And so, for today, we come to an end. I hope you liked it with me on the dike. Ciao, says your Bavarian on the Elbe.